I'm Brother Juju.
There's two Mono Pain Pain.
I'm Nailah Holliday.
That's my sister, Nailah Holliday. It's the Brothers Hermanos. Alright, so I met Nailah when we was working on this Target commercial, just randomly in life. So it was shout out to Joey Barnhart and Dave Dean and Diane Martell.
Shout out to the crew.
Yeah, shout out to the whole squad, everybody that was on there. And I think Grady was on there too. He a fool, man. So we were on set, and then basically Nah was working with D-Money with Diane Martell. And Diane Martell got a big track record in terms of music videos of people that she worked with. Nah got hella credentials too. Like, she's a real bomb filmmaker. And then she do go on, tell me what
Thank
you got
you.
going on.
I appreciate the introduction. I mean, I was gonna let you take it for a moment and fill in the blanks. I'm Nailah Holliday. I have worked in film, television production, live event production for the past 14 years. I started out in scripted TV in New York City, where I worked on Law and Order shows,
Hey.
like 3 of them.
What?
And then, Dick Wolf, exactly. Hey, shout out to Dick. And then I worked on the Martha Stewart live show, which was her live TV show.
You work with Martha?
I worked with Martha. I was her associate producer. When she started that show, she literally still had her ankle bracelet on because she just got released out of prison. So we did the whole first season, and she was on house arrest. She wore an ankle bracelet. Yeah, she was very gangster, actually.
You was hanging out with a rich thug, pretty much.
A major rich thug. She wasn't taking anybody's shit at that point because she had just gotten out of prison. And she literally went from prison, home, and then the next day she was in the studio working with us. And we were prepping this job as she was being released from prison.
Did she have any tattoos we don't know about?
No tattoos I'm aware of that I know personally. But she was not taking anybody's like anyone, not even her family, not her daughter, not anybody's shit. She was literally just doing her and making her choices and making her decisions, standing by them, and being a very powerful boss woman that she still is to this day, I believe.
I mean, she hang out with Snoop Dogg. So.
Yeah, I mean, there you go right there. So she was always down, you know what I mean, from day one. Now she just can be that person without being judged.
She
fully
got
did.
the props.
Yes, and so then I moved back to LA, which I'm originally from LA, Cali girl. And I started, Cali represent. I started working with in music videos and commercials. I started out as a director's assistant, then worked my way up to an associate producer, and then working alongside creative director Diane Martell eventually. So I did tons of commercials that I worked with different directors on as a director's assistant and associate producer, and then I started working in live event production with Diane.
So you're a producer and a star.
I mean, I'm just all-encompassing creative is what I prefer to classify myself as.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
It's definitely it's been a journey for sure, without a doubt.
Right.
And it's been a gorgeous journey. There's been some, speed bumps along the way. But I think every day that we allow ourselves to continue to create and to express ourselves in different formats, whatever that may be, musically, art form, whatever those art forms may be, I think it's a critical way for us to give back to the world and show kind of where our place is within that world.
What creative job was your biggest challenge?
I would say the biggest challenge creatively for me would have been the Miley Cyrus Bangers tour. Yes, so I worked with Diane Martell. She was the creative director. I was the associate creative director for that project. It lasted for over a year in terms of just the work and the nonstop traveling that we were doing. We developed the project here in Los Angeles for 3.5 months with Miley and Diane and a team of creators, whether it be animators, live action directors, editors, designers, motion graphic folks, anyone and everyone who did anything creative, whether it be digital or otherwise or live action, we implored those people to be a part of the show. And I found those individuals, ran those different teams creatively, and then delivered that content and got sign-off from Miley. And all the content that we were developing was to live on this large screens behind her as she's performing, so that they're an integral part of the show, what the audience will be seeing and experiencing. So I think that was the hardest job because it was managing so many different creative teams while also infusing my own creative ideas into the project, managing 2 extremely mindful, outspoken women, which were Miley, who was, you know, the brains behind the operation, and then Diane Martell, who was the executor of the creative behind the operation. And then translating all of those.
Busy though, because you saying like you're saying big names like just casually, like I talk about my regular friends. Like I'm like, oh yeah, John, and yeah, Fred and Kim, and you just like, man, that's
definitely
cool.
a first name basis for sure. I mean, you know, when we were working together, I still have like direct relationships. But yeah, there was a lot. I had a really wonderful opportunity to work alongside some of the best names in the business, and I am forever grateful for those experiences because they've allowed me to just be the creative producer and director and overall just creative person that I am today.
You got a good vibe, so.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. So yeah, that would be the hardest, most challenging role that I took on was the Miley Cyrus Bangers tour. Most challenging, but in the flip side, the absolute most rewarding experience that I had overall creatively.
That's crazy how the most challenging is the most rewarding too.
Yes, absolutely.
Or it's like you don't know if you're gonna finish the job, right?
Correct. There were absolutely days like that. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna end, or if it's gonna end, or will it, you know, there was just so many different challenges and people and personalities to manage that.
You gotta hold yourself to a certain standard too. So,
always.
You know,
Always. I mean, without a doubt, you know, everything has to be like A++ in terms of quality and the delivery of whatever you're putting out there.
Smelly Cyrus, what are you doing?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that was most challenging, but also most rewarding. And I think I saw the reward came in hindsight. I think after I was done with it, I was like, that was fucking dope.
Hey.
So would you rather work in making commercials, making music videos, or making movies? Do you see a difference with any of those?
There's definitely a drastic difference between doing commercials versus doing feature films versus producing and directing live events. I've had the opportunity to work in all three of those categories, and I really do appreciate all of the different sentiments that come along with being a creative in those different spaces. If I had to choose, if I couldn't do any of them, I would. If I could only do one of them, I should say, that probably would be. Well, that's a hard one to pick. I love the live events. The reason why I say that is because it can encompass all those different elements. It can encompass, you know.
That's stressful though, right?
It's super stressful, but you have to have a great team to kind of put it together. You can have your, you know, short form content that you have that can show during a live event, which is your commercial type work. You can have longer form content pieces if you want to use throughout some kind of live event. I like the immediate gratification of the attendees or the audience or whatever demographic that the event is geared towards. And I also like the fact that once the day is over, or once that particular event is done, then it's done, you know?
You sound very on point. Like, I mean, like, I would want you to, like, supervise or, like, run something that if I come up with something, if I have to feel
well, we can definitely
confident.
We can keep talking for sure.
I mean, I write sometimes.
That'd be dope. I love that. What stuff do you write?
I just write.
Okay, cool. Is it music that you write, or you just write just long?
Everybody got their dreams.
Okay, you know what though? Big long diary.
You know what? I got some ideas though. I got some like little treatments.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I can show them to you sometime.
You should, definitely.
That's terrible. That's good.
I would love to read something inspiring. You know, give you my feedback on it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm asking.
For sure. Let's do it.
Then maybe I can get the budget from the studio or something.
There you go. It's all about budget at the end.
Why doesn't anybody ever teach us how to get the budget?
There are like ways to do that, but they don't teach us how to do that.
The game is to be sold, not to be told.
Can you give a tip on how to get the budget on the Brothers Hermanos?
I mean, that's a big.
Somebody get the budget. Hey.
I mean, you gotta align with the money. Align with the money is key. It depends on what your project is really about budget. I think financing is one of the most challenging parts of any project.
Executive producer.
Particularly when it's a feature film, particularly when it's something that is a labor of love project. I think there are many different ways of getting money. You can get grants, you can get different buy-in from people who are excited about the project, who maybe want a producer credit or some type of, you know, accreditation for bringing in financing.
Trust fund baby friends?
Whoever. It can be
Trust fund baby friends.
You know, a hedge fund, you know? It just
Oh, right,
depends,
right. Oh,
you
that's
know?
it.
It just
Okay.
depends on what kind of entity wants to invest in this project.
Right.
But I think getting the money is like really all about aligning with those who believe in the project and who are willing to put their money and their whole, you know, their reputation on the line to support a project that may or may not have, you know, success written into it. So I think it's really challenging to find budgets, but it's also, there's a lot of free money out here for people to get. You just
Free
have to
money.
do the research.
Have you
know?
ever seen a project just like totally fall apart? And the money and everything is good. I mean, you're good, you're there, but
Definitely have seen a project fall apart. I was, when I lived in New York City, and years ago, I was working on a feature film, and it was a great, like, really cool project. It was about a bank heist in New York, like, many years ago. That's a really famous bank heist that people know about.
this is actually happening.
Yeah, this
Oh.
this really happened.
Real life.
Real life. The bank heist happened in real life. The
All
film project was a story about the bank heist.
Okay.
And so I was working as a director's assistant on that project. And also I aligned with the producers, the financing producers, to kind of get that knowledge and also help them get more funding for the project. I had two roles because my director lived in LA, and so he would fly in to be a part of meetings, and then I would just be in New York kind of running his lifestyle and his, not lifestyle, but his
So there's
business.
not to cut you off, but there's a whole other producer. There's like a finance producer.
Yes. There's a finance producer, there are creative producers, there are producers who execute certain things, there are post-production producers.
So that's like all in the credits when you
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah. And you know how you have producer this producer, that producer, associate producer. Each producer has different roles, you know, and different
Wow.
responsibilities. So it just all depends.
I learned on one of the jobs, like everybody's somebody's assistant. I
On a
forgot who
certain
said
level.
that or who quoted that, but then there's some people that are like experts or certain good at camera tricks or camera things, where
Right.
it's like you just let,
Like a big team, right?
yeah, you just let them do their thing. Like Seuss was one of them, so it's like you just let Seuss do his thing, cause
Yeah.
you know, you got skills with like certain aspects, and be like certain grip dudes or certain art department people
Who
where
have
it's like
like
they'll
a
take it
very
to the next
particular
level.
skill, right?
Yeah. So then it's kind of like, well, you just gotta let them work, and then people will just come up with the money how they come up with it just to make them happy.
Exactly.
And
It's
then-
true. It's very
But
true.
then they all have assistants under them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then everybody comes in where it's like, oh, I'm just the art department assistant, or I'm a group assistant.
Totally. It's weird because everybody has a very particular role, but that's how, you know, these projects actually get accomplished. I mean, there's a lot of people who you think are just sitting around doing nothing, but they might be doing nothing at the moment, but their responsibility may be much more vast than what you see when they actually get to set, or what you see when they are not on set.
Right.
So it all depends. But yeah, it's pretty dope.
Do you believe in aliens?
I do believe in beings that are beyond this planet, absolutely. And I believe that we can't be the only beings in this universe, whether they're aliens or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Excuse my language. I don't know what the language.
You're serious about this topic?
I mean, I used to watch Unsolved
My mom is
Mysteries.
too.
Yeah,
My
I used
mom
to
is
watch
very
Unsolved
serious
Mysteries
about
back
it.
in the day.
Yeah.
So I mean, and there
Yeah.
has to be something beyond just us on this in this galaxy.
What's up with Area 51?
I mean, I'd like to go visit, to be honest.
I actually want to go and see. I feel like if I get a trip there, I'm never coming back. Like, they have to kill me after I see.
Or they do the Men in Black thing where it's like, bitch!
Oh, yeah.
They need to come up with that. Remember, you just forget everything.
You don't even know. Who knows?
Alicia Keys or Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Ooh, you didn't even hesitate. Alicia.
I know. I mean, there's-
Alicia didn't get to hesitate.
I
like,
love
oh.
Alicia. Alicia's like, if they had to be one and two, it would be Alicia, Beyonce. Or Beyonce, Alicia, pardon me.
I know this might be jacked up, but I think Alicia's like naturally beautiful, but I think Beyonce is better.
I think Beyonce is, they both are extremely talented. I think
yeah.
Beyonce just like diversified her involvement in her, you know, level of just connectedness to different projects.
Two different lanes.
Yeah, two different lanes.
But
But they're two amazing, very talented artists.
Have you worked with Beyonce yet?
I've never worked with Beyonce. I would
Oh,
absolutely
okay.
love to work with Beyonce though.
yeah, she would definitely say that. You cannot skip working with Beyonce.
No.
Yeah, that would have been like the number one on the
Yeah,
list.
she was like, I work with Beyonce. Interview's over.
Exactly. Goodbye. I'm done now.
Yeah, for real.
That would be
Right.
insane. No, Beyonce working with her would be an absolute honor,
Yeah.
and like a challenge, and like I would just be like, I would work my ass off,
Yeah.
as I do on any project, obviously, but like it
Ah,
would
man,
be
I
like
can
a
tell, man.
labor of love in
Man.
that respect.
Fierce. Fierce. Don't she say that a lot? Sasha Fierce or Fierce?
She does say that. They were one of her songs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What about one last one?
Tell me.
This is so controversial.
I know, drop it.
Kobe or Jordan?
Kobe, because I'm LA all day, every day.
Oh, bam.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no other, like, it is what it is.
There's
Like,
gonna be some haters in the comments.
that's okay though. That's fine.
The
Kobe
mom.
is the mama,
Yeah,
black
the
mama,
mom.
and also like rest in peace, Kobe and his daughter.
Yeah, rest
Gigi.
in peace, Kobe.
You ever work with Kobe?
I have worked with Kobe. Yeah.
There you go. See, that's why I just asked randomly, because it just be just everybody you work with. So
Where can we find that?
I worked with Kobe. There's a website you can definitely check out.
What is that?
There was a festival in LA in 2018 called the We Rise Festival. I was one of the producers on the festival.
Hey.
The festival is based in downtown LA. It was backed financially by the Department of Mental Health in Los Angeles. So it was a city-funded festival, free to all the public. The idea behind the festival was to bring awareness to mental health issues. And so it was put on during the month of May, which is Mental Health Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. And it was supposed to go on for 1 week. It ended up being extended for 4 weeks, so we went the entire month of May into June of 2018. There was a opening kickoff weekend where there was a massive concert that occurred with celebrities like the Black Eyed Peas, Ty Dolla
LA
Sign,
natives.
like
LA
just
natives.
very like eclectic musical experience. And then there was food trucks, and they had art activations. There was a 10,000 square foot gallery space that was populated with mixed media art from all different genres, photography, sculpture, paintings, that dealt with the topic of mental health issues and mental health awareness.
So that sounds like some nonprofit work.
It was nonprofit budget, that's for sure. But and that was the stressful part about it for sure. But it was
really wanna help.
it was so rewarding, because the people that came in there and told their stories and expressed to us how they have gone through their journeys about discovering their mental health issues and like how that impacted their lives, they were able to share that with the rest of the community. And people that started conversations that people don't normally have, particularly in communities of color. And so that brought a lot of just open dialogue and awareness to a topic that is not spoken about enough. And so it was really rewarding. It was super fun once we got into it. And Kobe came one day where he did a kind of tour. He did interviews with us. He toured the gallery space, and then he did a surprise talk to students that came in for the day and didn't know Kobe was
I think
going
I've
to be
seen some of
there.
that. That's where the cute little kid asked him a question.
Yes.
on
Yeah,
there.
exactly. And he did just really good, positive, motivational dialogue to.
Like, you ever work with somebody who got mental health? Kobe like, yeah, Meta World Peace.
He didn't say it. Did he say it?
No, he didn't say it. He didn't say it, no.
Okay. He does.
I
mean, it's not even.
But it's okay. There's a lot of people who have mental health issues
No, I'm
in this world.
sorry.
But I think that Kobe was so humble and so well spoken and just a wonderful presence in the room. And we sat, as close as me and you are sitting to have this interview, and he was wonderful. I definitely felt those Mamba vibes, and it was a shock when we got the news of his untimely passing.
I thought it was fake. I was like, who would put out fake news like this?
Yeah.
Like, who would do this?
Yeah, I believed it because I remember waking up that morning at 6 a.m. and I could literally, the entire city of LA was just blanketed in
that
clouds.
day though, it was like a weird. I don't know if you're into frequencies and stuff like that, but it was just a weird. The sky was gray, but it was dark. It was weird. It was just an eerie feeling.
Absolutely.
And I just pulled over in my car and I was I was about to cry.
I was sitting in my living room at the house on a Sunday morning, and I was the messages started populating on my phone, and emails started popping out. I was like, what? And I was
this is. We should know it's real. Social media.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So my time with Kobe was an honor, and it was too short, but I
got
had
to
the
sit and talk
pleasure
with Kobe,
of
man.
meeting him personally.
Beyonce is next.
I think
Yeah,
so.
for real.
Definitely. And then Alicia.
That's what you need to talk to her, not
Exactly.
not
No. For
Right.
me to work with her and to collaborate on something, hopefully. Put that into the universe.
Hey, right. Positive manifestation.
Yes, exactly.
What inspired you to even get into the industry? Was it like a
Um,
moment as a kid?
Yeah,
where you were
actually.
just like, all right, this is what I'm about to do. And
Totally. So there was a very distinct moment. My dad is a music producer, so I've been around music and artistic expression.
A great music producer.
Thank you. Yeah, he's dope. My
Legend!
dad's dope. Shout out to Doc Holliday.
Yeah. He's good.
So my dad was a music producer, and I've been exposed to kind of musical environments most of my entire life from a very young age. When I was in elementary school, one of my best friends, Corey Hunter, shout out to Corey.
Corey Hunter.
Her dad is a film director.
Okay.
We were like my twin sister and I, and Corey Hunter. We were like best friends, the three of us. And Corey's dad was shooting this film that required having children actors in it.
Okay.
And she was like, her parents asked my parents if we wanted to be actors in her dad's movie, and we were like, totally yes. And so
That's not the typical way to get in the project.
I
Like,
literally
that's
was like we were
whoa,
in there like
you want to be in
swimwear.
my movie?
Yeah. And we're literally best friends. We'd hang out and like we have mud fights in her backyard. We'd come to my house and
Oh,
just
she
like
was your
play
sister.
like
She's your
kids.
sister.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean,
Basically, we were just like we had a sisterhood at a very young age, and our parents were friends because of that.
Right.
And we went to elementary school together, and we went to middle school together, and moved away, separated from high school.
Marie.
Yeah, so her dad asked us if we wanted to be in this film. We said yes. We got a day out of school. We got to work on set. We got
Did you guys get paid?
We got paid, definitely.
Oh.
We worked on set, and I never saw that check though.
Parents have their way of looking out for us economically.
Yes,
Yeah,
true. I was only like, what, 8 years old, I guess?
Right.
And we did a day on set where we had school in the morning with our set teachers and tutors, and then we had our time on set in the afternoon. We went to wardrobe, we got these cute little outfits, and I was like, this is so much fun. It was like dress up and playtime for the entire day, minus like the 2 hours of school that we had to
You
do.
got paid to
And we
do
got
what you
paid.
guys do.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and I remember walking onto set, and like we were the actors on the set itself, and there was a team of people who were all behind the camera, the DP, the director, and I remember seeing my parents on set and seeing my best friend's dad running the entire operation, so I felt very comfortable.
Was he the money producer?
No, he was a creative producer. He was the director, actually. He was the director of the project itself, so he was like making all the creative decisions.
Oh, wow, yeah. Wow, for sure.
So we did our little thing, and we had a fun day, and we were on set. And I remember when I walked on set the second time after we did our break and came back, I thought to myself, this is definitely what I want to do. I don't necessarily want to be the actor on the set, but I want to maybe do what they're doing behind the camera. And I remember having that revelation.
As a child?
As a child. And I was
Oh,
standing
yeah, so
in
you
the
was built for this.
I was standing in the Museum of Natural History because we were shooting, that was our location we were shooting in downtown LA, the Natural History Museum, which is also a LA landmark. That I used to visit all the time as a child because I lived in that area back then. So that would be my like weekend hangout, and I found myself there on a weekday with it shut down completely on set shooting this feature film with my best friend's dad directing it, and thinking to myself, I want to do this when I grow up. So that was my aha moment of this is what I want to do, and of course that evolved over the years, and as I went through school it changed, and I studied photography and film, and then went to art school.
You did all the right things.
Really?
I should have did all that.
Executed.
I guess so.
Man,
Execution.
man.
So far, so good.
I wanted to do stuff like that. I just had ADD though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have ADD now. Like, it's
Yeah.
absent heavily, like certain days. But I just try to remain focused as much as possible.
As long as it's not for life, it's not every day. Like,
I mean,
good.
yeah. It's tough. I definitely know that having some kind of those kind of challenges makes moving in different directions a bit challenging. But,
Do you feel like as a woman in this industry, do you feel like you have a disadvantage or an advantage?
I think women in this industry have a disadvantage from the jump, but I think you have to use that to your advantage somehow. You have to flip it, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
stuff right there.
You do. You can't allow the prejudices and the challenges that one faces by being a female in a male-dominated industry to stop you. You have to take that and turn it into something that's going to help you as an artist and as a producer, as a creative, whatever you're trying to do, flip it and make that work for you.
I'm not just saying this because you're here and you're beautiful. I'm just, I think women, like, I don't know, I think they have a better, I like their imagination, man. Like, look at some of the best movies I like, I started looking like they were all done by women, like Terminator, like Matrix, you know, and it's like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, or one of those were like
Harry Potter was written by a woman.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but it's a one female imagination, like, it was like a list of movies I was looking, I was like, oh, I was like, okay, and then even some rap videos, I was looking, I was like,
I mean, Diane Martell is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
She was one of the most powerful women in the music video game in
She
her
ran the
day.
90s with that hip hop.
She ran the 90s. She was like directing all the videos for all the dopest artists.
I remember
The 90s into the early 2000s.
it was one of the most controversial things when Nelly did the video. I remember they took him off a college tour or something because he did the tip drill video. And then I was looking at that video, the tip when he put the credit card down the girl's butt.
Oh,
And people was outraged about it, like they took him off the tour and all that. And then I was like researching, and like he said, it was a female that did the video and like other videos.
Right.
He was like, oh, what do you do? Like he had a credit card, and the lady told him to do that. And I was like, I think it's crazy.
That's wild.
Like,
I mean, we are full of amazing creative ideas.
they even outsmart us. It's stuff that we would do.
Right,
That's
and
like
do it better.
Kind of offensive, but
Right, but they're like, great minds, project great, positive, creative, moments that happen in history. And I guess that was definitely one of them. Clearly, you remember it.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, for real. You just brought it up randomly.
Yeah.
You
We're
said,
not
I'm
gonna say why.
Just find a reason to talk about it.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna get a female co-writer on my movie.
Why not? Get another perspective, female perspective.
Yeah, in the end.
There you go. Make it happen. So Mark, what are you working on these days?
Oh, well, I got cracking. I got a song with your sister.
Yes,
Whenever she
I've
comes
heard about
in.
this.
Yeah, so I know she's about to pull up for Brothers Hermanos. Yeah. It is like magical because if this is right here, yep, out front.
Wow. I'm Brother Juju.
It's Tomato Pain. That's my sister, Shak Holliday. It is the Brothers Hermanos. Is it Shak or Shakura? Which one do you prefer? Does it matter?
Well, my government is Shakura, but everybody who knows me calls me Shak in the streets, so
Big Shak.
you can call me Shak if you're a Laker fan. If not, just call me Shakura.
That Shak is powerful.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But yeah, you were saying about Venice Beach.
Oh yeah, man. Love Venice Beach, man. Love the States, man. It's always been like our artist community, like freedom. You know, it's like Venice is like the one place in the world, like it's one of those places where everybody is accepted. Everybody fits in.
Yeah, you have to be like eccentric to fit in Venice Beach.
Yeah. I'm getting those vibes from you. I'm getting those vibes.
I mean, I'm just like an earthy type of gal. I definitely had some kombucha this morning. I'm not gonna fret.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I mean, I like commercial things too. But I like to support like the local businesses and do like local things because, like you said, there's only
balance.
Yeah. You can only do it certain places, and LA is unique. Like it has mom and pops, and then it has like a Starbucks on the corner. But it's fun to keep it natural and like homegrown, especially like with the world and the way that it's developing right now.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you get into just the entertainment industry?
Myself, I got into entertainment. I was singing background vocals for like a lot of local artists. My dad, Doc Holliday, he is a vocal coach and a producer.
Doc Holliday.
He's a legend.
Yes.
Legend!
But yeah, he used to pull me into the studio often, like when I was like 15, 16, I sang background vocals on like a lot of different records, like Brandy records, Ray J, like all types of like random people, just like, getting experience, and like I didn't really like think of it as a serious thing. It was just a hobby for me and like helping out dad. But then I started to enjoy like the process of being in the studio because like, you know, the studio is a fun place when you're a kid because you get to meet people and like there's free food and snacks and like maybe a place to take a nap. Snacks. Like,
It's the main thing I remember. I just remember it being a lot of snacks.
no
Like
way,
they had the food
yes.
truck out.
Well, it's like
and shit.
craft services, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Mark, because you do film and like
Shout out to Crafty. Craft Service, that's the best place on set right there.
That
Honestly,
that alone
yeah.
made me want to be a celebrity. I was just like,
you could put a rider. That's what when I realized what a rider was, I was like,
right.
I want one. Like, I want one bowl of green M&Ms, but like,
Right.
but now I'm like, you know what? Maybe like the rider doesn't have to be so elaborate. Maybe it just has like a pollo loco, or like it just has like something simple, like a bunch of hummus, or like you know, like very simple type things. So
She said M&Ms, only the green ones.
only the green ones,
Small M's.
tiny. Oh no, the ones with your face. You know,
Oh.
like they're custom now. But like I don't know, I've been.
What? They custom?
They customize M&Ms now. I don't
My
know if
face?
it's, I don't even eat M&Ms, so.
Whoa.
But they're getting very elaborate. The M&M game is pretty crazy. It's right there with like the Coca-Cola game. You can have your name on it, you can have your face, you can have whatever the fuck you want. You can have what you want. Your dreams can come true on like a commercial scale, so.
So, I know that you're a legend out there in Japan. I know you got your career popping off and everything going
I
on.
did.
You go over there and they run you down in the street. So how'd you get involved in everything going on overseas?
Okay, so the Japan thing kind of fell into my lap. The first time I went to Tokyo was like 2007, and I've been like probably like hundreds of times since then. But I just like, I had a lot of friends and family in Japan, lots of Japanese homies that are also artists as well, like more conceptual artists. Some were rappers, some are like entertainers. A lot of my girlfriends were models. And so I kind of started out in like the party network. Like I would host events, and then I would do private parties, and then eventually I started singing at the parties.
Yeah.
And then like my modeling career started to transition more into like performance art. And so I would meet all these different creative people in Tokyo, and they would just like pull me into events, and like one thing led to another. And then before I knew it, I was like writing records for like artists in Japan and doing a bunch of features and just living my best life. I actually lived in Tokyo for 2 years, so
Hey.
shout out to all the Japanese homies.
Hey,
Watashi no tomodachi.
Gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Aishiteru yo. Hotoda. Love you guys.
I've seen some of your work. And
Have you?
yeah, and I was like I think you a dope collaboration. You like that artist Jay Park? I know he's not Japanese.
Jay Park. Yes, I know Jay Park.
He's Korean. Right?
I think he's
Korean.
he's a hybrid. Like, you know. That's what
That
they
dude is
call.
dope though. He can like
He's
rap,
fire. He
sing,
does
like
everything.
everything. Yeah.
But like if you don't do everything, then it's like so boring now. You know what I mean? You have to have like a little bit of like, you gotta just have a little, your hand in like all these inspiration points. So like I said, it started with the modeling, and then also like in terms of performance artistry, like I thought that was always more fun than being like a traditional pop singer, because pop singers are like built by like the record label, or they're built by like, you know, the outside world. And like I like to think as a real artist, like you build yourself, and like you pull, like you draw your inspiration points from there. So I started like thinking, okay, how do I want my shows to look? Like how do I want to sound? How does this record translate to like a lot of different markets, like, and where do I want to perform these songs? Like, so I started doing like live shows in like museums, and doing like performance art at museums, and like even the shows that were at parties, like I would like do all these like basically like all the visual content that I would like design it myself and put like words that made sense to like the feeling, and try to have like more inspiration points that were like a lot more artistic and creative, and like design them, like graphic design, words, and like music and textures and everything.
I think you are very capable of building yourself. I think you and your sister, you guys just like, they just need to put you guys in control and put a team behind you guys.
That would be,
like,
that's
man,
what we're building.
Speaking of building, you're big with real estate, right?
I am.
Real
I
estate
also.
tycoon out here.
I do. I
Do
sell
you
homes
have
too.
any tips for the young kids on what to do with real estate, like a real estate 101 real quick? 'Cause
I
a
would
lot of people
say
wouldn't even know
interest
that, I
rates
feel.
are low right now, so definitely if you can get a loan and lock it in, get one now. And even if you're not gonna live in your property, just buy it as soon as you can and rent it out because income property is ideal. You don't have to live there. It's
Look
good
who just
stuff.
walked in the studio.
Oh, we
Yeah.
got a VIP.
Hi.
All right, so this is Brothers Hermanos. We got the Holiday sisters with us.
Hey.
Wait,
So,
I was ready. Can we start over?
All right, well, yeah, we run it back one more time. One more time.
One more
again.
time.
One more again. So, hey, it's the Brothers Hermanos. We in here with the Holiday sisters. Hey. So we got both of them in here. What's Black Girl Magic?
Yeah, what is that?
I'll let you take that one. You have a lot of it. You got
Thank you.
it.
Y'all both got that.
I
That's
think
why I
Black
asked.
Girl Magic is a combination of several things. I think number one, it's an exuding femininity in a goddess-like way, having golden, beautiful skin in every single palette of golden, from dark golden to brown golden to black golden.
Like the spectrum.
The spectrum
of
of,
bronze.
of browns
Yeah.
and blacks into blacks. I believe it is a desire to present amazing, positive, beautiful things into the world and to share that energy and to, share that energy with the world and let that translate into other black girls as well.
I only asked the right question.
That's a good question. No one ever asked that.
That's a great
What is it
It's
to you?
secret. I mean, it's like how do you control your edges? It's like how do you like explain like all of your power to other people who don't have the magic? Like there's certain things like that, like it's like a smell, it's like a vibe, it's like how, like she said, how do you present yourself to the world? How do you exude like your qualities of like ethnicity, and then how does that like transfer to like public? And it like a lot of people think it's magic because they're like, wow, like everyone can't do it. So like, how do you do it? It's like a secret. It's like, but anyone who has it, we all connect and we know that it's magic. So we're all like little fairies floating around together,
I heard everything
being
else.
magical.
I heard everything else you said, but I think black girls have been at the edges.
The edges that are.
Y'all got everybody. You got people online.
Yes.
But it's like
Doing
it's
YouTube
not.
videos.
It's like
Yeah.
control of like. It's control of like your visual perspective. It's control of like how your beauty. It's beauty control, and then it's also like how does your beauty inspire like the world.
Right.
And so, a lot of people think it's magic, but it's very hard work. It takes hours.
Black Girl Magic. Yeah, so how many, who else is in the family? How many more sisters or how many more siblings is in the holidays? Like,
We
what's the holiday
have
bunch?
2 more, and they're
There's
not
2 more
here today.
sisters?
Yeah, shout out to MJ and Neek.
Okay.
Love you guys.
Just another sister, huh?
Hope you guys are watching.
Yeah, I'm sure you're watching. You should be watching.
Why don't y'all have like a group? Cause I'm sure your dad can just have y'all like keeping up with the Kardashians, spin off
my
with
God.
the.
That would be fun.
It's always the holidays or something like
Right,
that.
every
Y'all
day's
over
a
here
holiday.
just highlighting
Every
both the
day's-
things
Right.
that y'all.
Do you guys all sing?
We all have musical skills. For
Everyone can sing like
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
You know what? I believe it. Especially the way
I
It's like
promise.
the 4 holidays.
Especially the way she
Yeah.
said it.
like the harmony vibe is
That's the group, like
pretty
right, the 5 to 4
crucial.
holidays.
Yeah. There's definitely major skills
Holiday
within the
special.
holiday
Holiday
sisters.
season.
Because every day's a holiday. That's just, you know.
Let's
It's
produce
just
that.
too easy. That's what I'm saying. It's like-
It
But
really
it
is so
seems
easy.
easy,
I'm
but
just
it
like,
would
why
be
isn't it
like,
happening?
it would be hard. Like, honestly, because everyone's doing like their own creative thing. So, like, my younger sister is a businesswoman, and then Nailah is film, I'm music.
You guys are businesswomen.
I mean, we do business, but like, she does like finance.
Business.
She does like corporate. You know what I mean? And so we're on like the more creative side.
Yeah, okay.
And then our other sister's like a blend between corporate and creative. She does like interior design and also, well, not interior design, but like event planning. So
Wow.
it's
You guys are like the
interesting.
99 Lakers.
Honestly, I would like, it's a little bit of everything. If we can get some rings involved, then that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man.
Always trying to elevate to the next level.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Always.
Man.
But like inspire, you know what I mean? Because we're learning still. Like everything is like a learning experience
Yeah,
and also
forever evolving.
inspiration.
Yeah,
So
forever evolving. Yeah, we're all learning. I'm learning. I'm learning right now, right this moment.
Same.
Likewise. I guess if you stop learning, you stop living, right?
Message.
Message.
Yeah. So what was it like in that house, like the childhood, like what was it like growing up?
Noisy.
Yeah, it was busy.
Yeah.
It was very
that.
busy.
It's looking right. It doesn't stop.
Whose is it? Who wants to take
That
it? We
one.
can.
They're busy right now.
Yeah, sorry. We're otherwise occupied.
Hey.
I think growing up in our household was a lot of fun.
It was super fun, yeah.
We're all like close in terms of our age and close in terms of our relationship with each other. We traveled a lot together. We were like the four, like, you know, the four sisters. Oh my God, somebody's really
I
looking
feel
for
like
you.
that you need to look at that. Like you might need to. Business is
Stop
called.
Brothers Hermanos. What's doing the show right now? Got the Sisters Hermanos spinoff going
Oh
on
my
right
God,
now.
it's really
They call it with the budget. That's the budget.
They're like
It's
the
their
money
budget.
is calling, and like when it's a three-peat, I'm like, oh my God, hello. Is
Right.
everyone alive?
Yeah, yeah.
Did anyone die?
It's a
Okay,
three in a row call. You're like, it's pretty serious at that point.
Right.
It's
I'm in the
usually
front
like-
with this check and you won't answer your phone.
Hey, for real,
Here,
shout
give me
out
your
to
money.
Big Brother Rampage, Flip Mode Squad. Hey.
Hey.
So wait, can I ask a question? This feels like Desus and Nero, which is like my favorite situation.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
Comparison.
It's not a comparison. This is way more fun. Like because we can talk about whatever we want, and we have, you know.
Oh yeah, there's no limits to this show. That was the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And we gonna fumble sometimes. We gonna mess
Our
up.
phones might ring. We don't have our
Phones
shit on
might
vibrate.
We're just two potheads.
So Mark and I have a track called "The Power of Now." Well, Major Pain actually.
Either way.
It's called "The Power of Now." It's about being present, and definitely check it out across platform.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot because I think it was like Eckhart Tolle or one of those dudes that they wrote the book The Power of Now.
Yes. How do you say it? Eckhart Tolle?
I think it was him.
Yeah.
Or it was one of those guys that's on that level of that do that. But
He was an outlier,
Right.
and
yeah, you know what I mean. So
He
I don't
was
know,
good.
It makes me feel like I'm on my Buddha Zen stuff because like the moment is always now. That's basically
Always.
the power is in the present.
Yeah,
Right?
the present is
Intense.
literally all we have. Past is in the past, doesn't exist anymore. Present hasn't arrived, so it's the power of now.
Yeah, and I'm learning sometimes like in football you gotta go 5 yards back, so you gotta go through the pass and it would catapult and go even farther to make that long throw to that wide receiver over there to go even further in the future. So if you don't
Exactly.
get back,
Like
you're
one
gonna
step
get
back.
because you just always living right here on the line.
Yeah, you
It's
gotta-
real hard sometimes. It's like, oh, if I just went back a little bit more and seen stuff, I would have a better perspective. See the field open.
You can see the long, the big picture.
See a
Absolutely.
bigger picture.
Exactly.
Time out. You're cutting yourself off in the frame.
Damn.
Like
Get it.
literally like
Shout out to Nailah.
yeah.
Here, let's make some space for this man.
Like I don't know how much we've lost you, but now you're back. You're in it now. Yay.
All right, cool. Hey.
Right, glad. I was like, look at Mark.
Like he was
Frank.
just really high.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So, Mark, what is it? You said the power of now just means full perspective and, you know, looking from the past to the future to the present.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just so great because with music, you can just put your own interpretation on things.
Yeah.
So sometimes we gotta let the listener just be like, this is what it meant to me.
Yeah, it's all interpretive. That's what art is about. We can't tell you how it makes you feel. You have to feel it, and then,
Expression.
you know.
Yeah.
But everything's relevant. Feelings are relevant. You're relevant. We're all here together,
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
creating
And I would just want you to tell me a little, because we're asking you questions now, the co-host gets to ask the host questions.
Ooh, look
It's
around.
Sisters Hermanos, huh? It's like, oh, damn.
We have
Take
a
it
spin-off.
over.
Sisters Hermanos.
Sisters Hermanos.
You ready?
Tell me a little bit more about the quarantine album that you worked on, because I think we lost some of your dialogue because you were not
You were hiding.
framed. So
Tell us
make sure we
more.
capture
We
that.
want to know.
Everything was made or created. Like I started the beats when they announced that we were on lockdown and everything got shut down.
So months ago, March.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist at heart, so really a lot of the lyrics or a lot of the project is from talking to my brothers Hermanos and just talking to people, just be like, what's really going on? Because I don't know what's happening right now, and I've never seen anything get shut down like this.
Yeah,
And
who knows
everything
what
just
is
halted
really going on.
in life. I'm over here asking like my 70, 80-year-old uncle. That's why I got the song just checking in on there, because it's like checking in on my uncles and aunties and everybody, because I felt social distancing was divide and conquer. So a lot of like the older folks were feeling left out, and they was feeling like lack of love. So I did that project pure of heart, just so that people would be like, oh, okay, this is where he's at now in his in the artistry.
That's what's up.
I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs on the album.
For sure.
It really is.
Cause you know I pretty much meant every single word. Well, I did mean every word on that project. So,
It was right on time too. That project was right on time.
It was,
Translation and everything.
yeah, respect. So yeah, so I'm excited to put this Power Now project out because we want to make some timeless and eternal, just infinite artwork that you can just play it at any date or any time period. And
Play it
and
tomorrow,
you can just get
5
into your
years
zone.
from now.
You can learn something from it, take something away from it, and
Sure.
it's good music too, where you can just vibe out as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody wants to play it back again, I feel like it's a win. Like people
Sure.
get so caught up in like, if I don't get an award, I'm not valued, or I'm not on a high level, or I'm
You're
not
doing it for
displayed.
that, for real.
And that's all I'm getting at. Like with that project for sure, I did get like. Anybody really
How
know?
can you give a fuck? You can't anymore.
Well, I'm sure that came out through the project too.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
this is just where he was at in his headspace, and this is just like authentically him.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is just
Honesty,
what he
yeah.
felt like saying, and what because that's what I learned from my family, because they're loose at the lip. They say whatever they want to say, and very unapologetic about it.
Yes,
So
sir.
if I learn anything from my ancestors and my uncles, and when I was saying I was connected with the ancestors on the project, it's pretty much just like, just don't bite your tongue, nephew. Just say what you feel. Like fuck them.
It's a live stream.
Own
So
it.
we're connected.
Own that shit.
You own
Speak your
it.
truth.
And
Yeah.
gotta
don't
speak the truth.
apologize.
And I feel
you
that's
know?
what being human and being here is all about. It's like, that's our liberty, just
Sure.
being able to speak it. We don't have too much, so when they shutting all this stuff down, it's like, at least I can say what the fuck I want to say. If they
Yeah,
take
be
that
able
away,
to.
then it's really your problem.
Yeah, it's all bad. Then I don't even want to be here when they do that.
And like, they take away your right to bear arms, and take away your right to say what you want to say, then it's
Yeah.
like, damn, all
This
right.
country will
man.
know those are literally the foundation of this country was built
Right.
on freedom of speech and, of course, the
Right.
Second Amendment, the right to bear arms.
Definitely bear arms.
You know.
And say what
So-
you want. But connect to the center.
Right, and also lead with love when you're speaking what you want.
Because it's
Say
such a
what you
balance of like, if there's no enemy within and the enemy outside can't hurt you.
Yeah.
But people do stupid ass shit out here, so
Yeah.
you might want to have some protection. And just
Yeah. Like,
Because some people will
Unfortunately.
respond different to it. Because
Unfortunately.
it's like the realm that we living in, like living in Earth. Sometimes it's some crazy things that.
Require some backup.
Do you guys own guns?
I definitely have arms, and shout out to all the arms dealers locally. Helping supply everyone.
Shameless
you know.
plug.
Yeah.
She mean local licensed dealers.
License, absolutely. Who know what they're doing with their weapons, who aren't being frivolous, you know.
Definitely.
The shops.
Yes.
We gotta do it.
Yeah, I definitely also have arms as well. I mean, you know,
I believe you guys.
we live in
And I know how to use them.
And their dad
obviously.
too, Big Brother Almighty. Yeah, Big Brother Almighty made sure that my big brother's food got a check because the MC
That's
Hammer
nice.
days when I
Yes.
sat down and talked to your dad. It was like, oh yeah, ask Swoop about me. He was like, ask about Big Brother Almighty. I made sure that he got a check.
Oh
my
I
gosh.
paid that time. I was like, that's cool because y'all are the descendants of somebody that looked out for my big brother. you know?
Yes,
So it's just crazy that we're all, chopping it up right now.
And we definitely want everyone to get
Disrespect
paid
Definitely.
in general.
Always.
Like, you know, making sure.
Yeah, Super Brother is awesome. I remember meeting him when I was on my very first tour, which was I was in high school, like jumping on the back of someone's tour.
Swoop son.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's a small world.
But we're all connected, so like, don't forget.
Exactly. And Juju, just tell us quickly what you're working on, what you're excited about right now.
Well, I have a children's book.
Ooh.
It's called Family Values from A to Z.
Family values, hey.
But you know children's books are really for adults though, right? Like, you know,
it
like
kinda
really,
is.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, think about the parents read it to the kids, right? And the children read it to the parents.
a lot of these parents need family values too.
They need to remember, like, you
Go
know,
back to the family values.
get to the
back.
roots.
I see a lot of parents. I'll be like, I don't know, they might need a
Like,
class.
what is your parenting style?
Training, a little retraining,
Right.
refresher course.
Not saying that I'm a good man. I mean, I'm not even.
I know I raised my hand. I don't even have
Right.
no kids.
I don't
Parenting.
I do. I have a daughter. She's 5.
Okay. Oh, see, you can school me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
She
real.
likes books. We're definitely
like
when
books.
you drop the book, definitely like
gotta
send
give
us
you
a copy and
Yeah,
sign it
definitely
with a
will.
little message
Definitely
Yeah.
will.
saying don't forget your family values. You know.
Yeah. I'm working on another book too.
Are you
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it.
also for children or something else? More like
It's
a
an adult book.
Oh,
Yeah,
exciting.
Okay, it's basically called An Interview with Love.
Oh, I like
You
the
know,
title.
it's just like listening to women, like listening to how women. So I'm basically being schooled by women.
Got it.
Like I was actually driving Lyft for 6 months, and I would just interview women. They didn't even know I was interviewing them.
Oh,
I would
cool.
interview women and like relationship advice, and just how do you feel on certain things. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting.
That's really cool. And then now I understand why you said you need a female writing.
Oh yeah.
I get that now. I'm like, you're talking about to the ladies, about the ladies, to the ladies.
To the ladies.
Which is amazing.
From the ladies.
I like that you're taking a male-led perspective, but getting all of your insight from direct contact and conversations with the female population that you're making the story about.
And then I worked in the salon for 11 years.
Oh, yeah.
I had my own.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like a fly on the wall.
Amazing.
You must have heard all the tea being spilled.
I heard
So
some.
much juicy
So I could
gossip.
write a book about.
I think
stories.
that would be really interesting too.
Oh my god.
You should just be
Like
called
little short
the shop,
stories.
like
I
you
would have
know,
to
like
change
little.
names
You
and.
have
Okay.
to protect the innocent and the guilty.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely move to the Caribbean for like 6 months.
All the way off the radar.
He's like, I'll be in Turks and Caicos
Right.
hiding out
With
until this,
on,
you know,
do not
until the
look
dust
at.
clears.
Yeah.
Do y'all have a story time for us? Is there a story time?
Yeah.
Story time. Y'all think
No, Shaq
Oh my
is really
God.
good.
Okay, so-
do you have any? What is it? Give us a topic.
Yeah,
or
tell
a
me
theme
what
of the
what
story.
type of story you'd like to hear.
Yeah, childhood moment, like a story with her, or like the craziest memory you have with her.
On tour with your dad, anything.
Yeah, just a wild moment.
Really.
Just something that we all gonna be like, yeah.
Alien abduction, anything, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do you think? No, I'm trying to think. I'm like right off the top, like I doubt, you know. I'm
We put
like,
you on the spot.
Was there like
Yeah.
was there like a favorite vacation moment, like a time that y'all went together on a travel trip? and
Okay, I have a
something like-
moment. So one time, Nailah and I were with our parents, and we used to go to Jamaica a lot. It's always like
Yes.
my family's like
Yes.
vacation spot, their hot spot. And then
Hey.
we were coming back through Miami, and like my parents had bought us all these dolls. But all the dolls in customs
Voodoo
were
dolls?
sliced open. No, just like lovey.
Normal,
like,
Oh, okay.
Blackgirlmagic.
Like black faced dolls.
yeah,
that
like
were,
beautiful
our
dolls that
Oh,
you
I
couldn't
like that.
get like
That you
in
couldn't get in
America.
America.
So like they were
Right.
dolls like from like the marketplace and all these dolls because we like dolls because we were little. We were like 8, 9, 10, you know.
Right.
Black Malibu
Little
Barbie.
girls.
Yes,
Black
exactly.
Barbie.
Or like a
Yeah.
Like
soft
handmade and like soft, like
Like
lovely,
kids.
you know.
Exactly.
Black Blue Barbie.
So we get to Miami and then we get to customs and they just bring out like all the razor blades and start cutting up all the dolls to check to see if they had drugs in them.
Oh.
And like we were like we were all like, you know, devastated because we're like, why
Our
you're
dolls
killing
are
them? We're like, you're
losing
killing them. We're like, no, like
I see you,
stop.
pretty girl.
We're like crying, like no.
It was
And
so
so
bad.
it was torturous, like the whole visual experience. But luckily, no one got like stopped fully. So like the dolls, they still returned
They
them
returned them back to us, even
Yeah.
though they were sliced open.
fully,
Our
like bleeding out with like whatever. But our kind, loving mom who knows how to sew and like used to
Shout out
make
to
us
Mom.
stuff. Yeah,
Is that Mama Holiday?
Mama P, we love you. She sewed our dollies back together, and so now like some of the dolls we actually still have them, and they have like these interesting like
like
little
stitch marks. on
stitch,
them.
like you know,
Because they
brown
had to be hand
stitching
sewed back
because
together.
they were hand sewed because they were murdered at the customs
Miami.
in Miami.
You guys' father had the lock rocks at the time? Too?
No, I think he
he
had
did.
he had like
He
a
had
little
fade.
low Caesar. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had
Oh,
fade.
okay. I know they were like,
So-
Oh yeah, you guys
They were-
working with the cartel.
Oh my god. Give me
Bye,
those cartel
man.
dogs. Like,
It's a book with you. Come over here. We don't want to see the book with you.
Coming through Miami is like,
And also, we were a black family on vacation in the 80s. or
Yeah,
90s,
it makes-
And they were like, what are you guys doing?
they're like, you're definitely
You
trafficking.
must be
And we're like, no.
Right, yeah.
But luckily, we weren't.
Yeah, no.
I'm glad you guys weren't.
Me too.
Me too. I don't think we would have made it that
Definitely
far.
wouldn't have made it home that day.
Right. Well, this interview will be different.
It would.
It might be.
Be like a little bit more glass.
Yeah.
But that's a story.
That was one of our
I can't hear you.
wild family stories.
You have one now?
I don't have one that's as dramatic as that, but let me have a quick moment of thinking.
What do we used to be doing? We would just get into everything, like, you know, our fashion shows,
Yes,
like,
yes. I mean, as
crazy.
kids, we would always have something going on. I mean, like, we would do fashion shows as children.
we would make
do-
our parents' friends come and like sit them
like,
down.
to have
and,
like make tickets for them to
Yeah.
like, you know.
we had
actually show up.
lighting. It was crazy.
We were like a full like mini production.
It was a real production.
And
like
every
in our
year we
house.
did a Christmas and a Thanksgiving show.
We did. It was our
So
own
it was a
recital.
live.
So you guys are like
It was a
young
live
entrepreneurs.
production, you
It
know?
was a live event production back then. And I think I guess for me, one of my crazy stories, I think was just being with Shaq in New York. We lived in Brooklyn together.
We did.
How was that?
It was a lot of fun.
It was so fun,
It was
but it was
wild.
dangerous.
Yeah.
It was
was a
pre
lot of fun. It was
gentrification.
wild. Yeah.
So we'll leave
It
it
was
at
the
that. You
beginning
know?
of gentrification in
Yeah.
Fort Greene, Brooklyn. But there
Or
was just many
Bed-Stuy.
times.
You
that
kind of
Shaq
lived
and I-
closer towards Bed-Stuy.
I
A little
lived
on the border. She was on the border.
On the border. But you lived one street over.
I don't know, but it was
So,
like, it wasn't
wasn't like-
as pristine as Fort Greene. Like, Fort Greene was like more trees and like less crackheads. And like,
Yeah,
so it was like, you know.
Absolutely.
I spent some time in New York. I was staying out there for a while when the ginger was coming.
Yeah, you
Ah.
see?
Yeah.
It's like over
you
there
can
near
feel the
Harlem, like
shit,
yeah,
you know?
like yeah, you was seeing it just come in Harlem,
Yeah.
like the ginger.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
love it.
lot.
Harlem was dope though. Harlem
Yeah,
still is
Harlem
dope.
is, yeah,
But
Harlem's fun.
my friend was in Harlem.
Sylvia's.
Yes,
Hello.
Sylvia's.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, that's soul food. So,
Yeah,
so,
so bomb.
So good.
All the Jamaican spots.
All of them.
Everywhere.
Then they're like, what you want? You're gonna have to
I
wait.
want a chicken
right?
patty and some jerk chicken, please.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But no, me and Shaq used to run around the city like two crazy girls. Like we would be on the
Mhm.
trains, we'd be in taxis.
That's
We were
like an
just running
adventure.
shit. We just had a great
It was
adventure
fun.
together, and there was like no day where we didn't have a blast or get into a little bit of trouble, but then get ourselves out of trouble.
Yeah.
It was always an
It
adventure,
was
for
always an
sure.
adventure, yeah.
For sure.
We had a great time. So I don't have a specific story that I can think of right off the top of my head, but we just ran the city. when we were
Years
there.
of fun.
I can only imagine.
And
Yeah,
lots
right?
of time on the G train. Lots of gypsy lots of like,
Oh my god.
lots of
Finesse.
experience,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. But that was one of my favorite times in my adult life.
Yeah, we go ahead and wrap it up. We covered a lot of stuff.
We did. We hit all the hot
You guys are gonna have
topics.
a lot of editing to
Oh,
do after
yeah.
this.
Oh, good, man. It's worth it, man.
Yes.
Man, seriously. Well, I'm Brother Juju.
Hey, it's Tumano Pain Pain.
I'm
It's
Nailah
the,
Holliday.
I'm Shak Holliday.
the Holiday Sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.